All right, welcome to Fresh Takes Gaming Podcast. First ever episode here. I am Bub Drum, one of your hosts. Joined with me this evening by my co-host, the DS Claw. Say hello to everybody, DS Claw. There's DS Claw.
And, what's up, everybody? Let's get it.
And Kira Carey.
How's it going?
It's good to see you, gentlemen, tonight. What have you guys been up to? What have you been playing? What's been in your consoles, PCs, etc.?
For myself, I've actually been trying to finish up some of the first divisions so that way I could get ready for number 2 coming out. And I have been kind of messing around with Game Pass and some other ones as well.
Nice. And what about you, Kira?
First up for me, I'm collecting everything on Rise of the Tomb Raider to get ready for the new Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and also finishing up everything on Forza Horizon 3, making a few videos, getting ready for number 4 to come out.
Oh, snap.
That's what's up. That is what's up. Myself, I just finished Vanquish today, which was in previous Games with Gold edition.
Okay.
On the Xbox. Had one of the... It was a good playthrough. It was about 5-6 hours, made by Sega. But the cool thing that got me was the end credits. They actually have you in a space shooter through the end credits, shooting the faces on asteroids of the developers.
That's pretty cool.
I was like, this is the coolest end credit scene I've ever seen in any game that I've ever played. So like they're all flying at you, and I was like, what's going on? This little reticle comes up, and it's like right stick to aim, right trigger to shoot. I'm like, what is this? What is this? Is this another boss? What's going on? But no, it was all the developer names. Cool. It was the end credits for the game. It's pretty cool. But anyway, gentlemen, the topic for this evening, as you know, is the game that made you realize you are a gamer. And what that means is basically it doesn't have to be the first game or video game you've ever played or any particular console, but that one defining game that you said, this is something I'm probably going to do for the rest of my life in some form or fashion, whether you want to do... aspire to do esports, or whether it was just, you knew this was going to be a hobby, lifelong hobby of yours.
Hi, Grasshopper.
Hello, Grasshopper.
What's up, Nightmare? So as far as like what game got me, like made that kind of trigger pop in my head was Final Fantasy. I can't remember what the actual name of it. The old school Game Boy. I played through it multiple times. I had multiple saves on it in different places in the game that I loved actually engaging the enemy on. And Street Fighter 2 was a game that that's the first time that I saw that it was skill based, and when you're fighting somebody, it really did pit you against another human person, and that's where it turned into something way cool for me, and I knew I was going to come back for it. So
that's awesome.
That's my games.
Okay, so Street Fighter. I was a big fan of Street Fighter. Who was your go-to character?
Ken for life, man. Here's a pull.
Ken for life. That's what's up. I was a Ryu, man. I was Ryu all day.
That's okay. You can be wrong.
Wow.
Shots
fired, man. Shots fired with the Street Fighter, man. Wow.
It's going to escalate pretty quickly. We're going to have like a turf war over here.
I know, right?
Computer.
I'm going to Shoryuken you through the internet, man.
Oh, I'm garbage now. It'd be like beating up a little kid. It'd be no problem. But,
yeah, I'm hot trash at fighting games. No, yep. It's the worst. So what about you, Kira?
Oh, I'm sorry. Got a terrible internet connection here. What was the question again?
So what about you? What was the game for you? Or games?
The two of them have got to be maybe want to be a gamer. Hands down, the very first Need for Speed Underground.
Okay.
That started a very long delve into motorsports and designing on cars. that I've can Horizon and still do to this day. And the other one has got to be Ace Combat.
Ace Combat. Okay. That's
I started off on 4 Shattered Skies.
Okay. So see, those are both series I never really dived into. I'm probably missing out tremendously on that. Now, was
They got
there?
their hit and misses.
What's that?
They got their hit and misses, in my
They got their hit
opinion,
and
but
misses.
that's just me.
Yeah. Okay. That's what's up. Well, for me, this is going to be very odd because I'm not a sports game fan. I don't play like the Maddens or the NBA 2Ks or NHL games or anything like that. But back in, it was the 90s. I don't know the exact year when it came out, but it was actually NBA Jam on Super Nintendo, which is kind of weird because I had an NES, I had a Game Gear, or not Game Gear, a Sega, and played tons of games out of libraries for those. He's on fire. Exactly, Johnny Soros. He's
That's
on fire.
exactly what I thought of too when
He's
he said
on
it. I was like,
fire.
he's on fire! And then a big old bam!
That's right. That's right. My go-to team was the Charlotte. So, but it was weird because, I mean, I played Mario's, I played Sonic's, I played Zelda's, I played all these games, but never occurred to me, and it could have been an age thing because I was older at that time prior to when those previous consoles and games came out. So I was probably early teens, 13-ish maybe at the time, 12, 13. I actually competed in an NBA Jam tournament at my
Nice.
my local card shop, comic shop, whatever you want to call it, video game shop. Very small town. I grew up in that portion of my life, but they were holding an NBA Jam tournament. I was like, I'm pretty damn good at this game. Talked to my parents. Who were like,
Come get wrecked.
really? Like, you want to pay, like, because there's a door fee, right? There's like an entry fee. I think it was like $10 at the time. Yo, thanks for the follow, Johnosaurus. And at the time, my parents were like, why are we gonna waste $10 on a video game tournament? I get that. At the time, I totally understand it now, looking back on it. So I think the name of the place was like Mike's Upper Deck or something like that. I can't remember.
Yep.
100%. So went up there, paid my, like a week before, went there with my mom or dad or both, paid the $10 fee, said, okay, next Saturday you'll have a slot, da-da-da-da-da. Show up. You know, it was just like a bracket tournament. I think there were maybe 30 kids, which was a big turnout at the time. So all day, just cycling through match after match, just getting people, taking them out, da-da-da-da-da. So finally get to the final game. I end up losing. I finished second in the tournament, so I got like a gift card or like a free pick of something in the shop. But at that moment in time, I was like, video games can be competitive, like outside of couch co-op, right, with your buddy or something like that. Like competing against a complete stranger, never played this game with in my life, and I was just like, it was a lot of fun. Granted, yeah, I took second, neither here nor there. But at that moment, I realized I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. Like, there's no way around it. It just stuck with me. Yep. And to this day, I still love NBA Jam. That's one of the very few sports games I love, which is NBA Jam. So that was the one for me. And then there have been, and to tag on to this, and you guys can chime in as well, were there any other games that kind of rekindled that love of video games to make it just give that push further to like keep playing video games?
The Horizon series.
The Horizon series? Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta think.
Yeah, they
Nightmare,
brought it back.
Halo 2. Why am I not surprised, Nightmare?
I think as far as like love of video, I would have to go with Contra. Contra and Link, actually. Those two games, Legend of Zelda, as it was called proper on the NES. Those two games really got me hooked in because that was the first time that I could play at my house Outside, we never owned an Atari or a Coleco or any of that. We didn't have a PC. So when I got the opportunity to play those games at my house, it was amazing. And I loved the bullet hell that was Contra.
Oh yeah,
and like that's where I really started getting into like memorizing placement of stuff in levels. Because I probably it's going to come down when they're going to shoot, what they're going to shoot, and power ups that you could find. I loved it. I was hooked.
Now, did you actually ever beat Legend of Zelda?
I beat all of them.
You beat all of them?
The only one that let me. To be fair, I haven't played Wind Waker. I have new ones, but everything that was on the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, I destroyed. I destroyed those games. I loved them. I had a great time.
That's awesome.
I was trying to speed run the one on the 64 for the longest time. That was a lot of fun.
Gotcha. Yeah, 64 one was really good. Hey, what's up, Hazardous Mike? Yeah, Link to the Past. That was one of my favorite ones.
For life.
Link to the Past was great. What about you, Kira? You said the whole series.
The Horizon series, yeah.
Horizon series. So are you a little bit of a gearhead then? Is that a safe assumption?
I grew up around two mechanics that one of them still drag race and the other one doesn't. So
all right.
Yeah,
I would say so then.
I'm kind of familiar with that.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of my buddies in chat, Johnny Source, he's a gearhead too. So, for me, I would say the Halo series, I would say 1 through 3 probably reignited that. I remember the first time I played Halo, I was just like completely blown away. First time playing it on Xbox. I was at a buddy's house and it was something else. I've never played anything, seen anything like it at that time, and I was just like, holy crap, I need to go get an Xbox like next week.
That's back with the Duke controllers too. I remember playing Halo.
Yeah, man.
And sitting there with my giant tablet.
Yeah, man. I mean,
that was amazing.
It was crazy. That Duke controller. I actually kind of missed that Duke controller. I think it felt good. Now, granted, I have these big, huge, like bear paws, but for me, it was a good feeling controller. And I want to pick up that new Duke Nightmare. Speaking of the Duke, and you played the Atari when you were in Grasshopper? Awesome. But, yeah, Johnny Source Rex put in there, Paulo wins. So there was, I don't know if it was introduced in Halo 1 or Halo 2, where you could set up the custom game types for, like, co-op, couch co-op. Yeah. I think it was Halo 1. Okay, thanks, Johnny. So Johnny is a good friend of mine, long-standing friend of mine in real life, and we used to play 4-player Halo 1, and we had this custom game type called Paulo Wins, which was based off our friend DJ's co-worker at the Chinese restaurant here where we lived, who was named Paulo, and he was just kind of a crazy guy, so he picked all the craziest settings. And I think it was active camo, swords, rocket launchers on King of the Hill, or something crazy like that.
Oh, good lord.
So it was insanity incarnate. But so many fond memories of playing that game type with 3 other buddies of mine. And that just like, yeah, I love gaming. It is what it is. And it's never going to. Okay, there we go. No radar. He clarifies it for me. Thank you. No radar, active camo, energy swords, plasma grenades, rocket launchers, King of the Hill. Okay, I got most of it right. So yeah,
You got most of it.
The no radar part I forgot because that sucked. So these matches would go on forever because you couldn't see anybody.
Nobody wanted to move.
Radar.
Yeah.
So you just fire at the spot that's the King of the Hill, and that was that. It was great. Many late nights playing that. So, but yeah, that kind of reinvigorated me for gaming, and then for Xbox 360, there was another game which probably not a lot of people have played, but it's called Asura's Wrath. Very Japanese. That's all I'm gonna
Yes.
say. It's a very Japanese game. So it was a Asura's Wrath. You're you touched
where
the
you
not much
gotta
nightmare. So it was kind of like a action some RPG elements. There really wasn't leveling up or like skill trees or anything like that, but you were this guy Asura, you were like a demigod, and these people took your daughter, and we're going to use her. These other demigods are going to take your daughter and do all this other crazy stuff. But the whole there's a lot of button mashing, which I'm not like a super fan of. But just the different aspects of the game they did looked awesome. Like it was just beautiful. So you had this one side-scrolling part where you were like firing like these arm rockets. Again, it's a Japanese video game. Why not? Why not have arm rockets? So, that's a good one, Grasshopper. GoldenEye. That is a good one. That is a good one. I forgot about that. Good call, GoldenEye on the 64.
That was I would say that's probably where my love for PvP GoldenEye, and where it soon died. But a lot of fun.
Where it soon died.
But there was that game, and Prince of Persia back on the PC, the OG Prince of Persia. I forgot about that until we were talking. Yeah,
really. I
had a lot of love for that, and then there was a game on TurboGrafx 16 called R-Type. That was a bullet hell game.
Yeah, I remember.
It was a side scroller, and it was rough.
I still have a TurboGrafx 16. I don't know if it works. I found it at a yard sale many years ago, and I was like, I just need this for the sake of just having a piece of gaming history. Whether it powers up or not, or outputs video or not, I need to have this. Same thing with an OG Xbox. I still have an OG Xbox for the sake of having a piece of gaming history. So
yep. I had my Nintendo for a long time, and finally I just had to let the dream go.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna start pulling all of them off the ROM sites, but those it's not ethical, so I didn't really do it.
But that could be a topic for another show. Is the whole world of ROMs and physical cartridges of old games and things like that. But maybe we could cover that in another topic, or if we have time, we can cover it in here. I don't care. Lots of cussing at the Dormant College because of GoldenEye. Yes, back to GoldenEye. I totally forgot about that. Like the N64 was one of those consoles that I did love, and had fond memories of it. I remember there was a Perfect Dark game was on there, and I love that game. And it was just one of those things that I'm trying to adjust something here. It was a good playthrough, and I think that had multiplayer, but at the time I don't think I played much multiplayer in that one. The one I played multiplayer in was GoldenEye. My brother and I have an older brother. He loved the game, but he was terrible at it. But he kept playing, and I would own him every time. And he would never want to play with the golden gun or anything like that, because he knows if I got it, it was it was a short-lived match. So
the one that I liked is that's where they really started playing with the HUD system, was in GoldenEye. So instead of having it like just constantly visible at the corners of your screen, you'd actually pull up your watch and you had that little kind of like glance down and be able to trick your stuff out. That was cool, and it was a subtle thing that made it different and kind of brought it in. I don't know, a little more immersion for me.
Kingdom Nightmare was talking about a game that's not Halo, Kingdom Under Fire Crusaders. I haven't played that one. Can't say I've
Kingdom Under Fire was good. It's an RTS.
Okay, that's probably why I didn't play it.
And then you would move them around. I dug the game. I got frustrated at some of the stuff in it, like really, really bad though.
Yeah.
I think it was it was fantasy, so you had dark elves, you had different races of people, and the dark elves that were on horseback, they were like your archers that were super like ninja maneuverable.
Okay.
And the AI on it wasn't the best for my play style, so I constantly got owned. and it killed me inside.
Paint mode on GoldenEye.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was never good at
Personal
RTSs.
RTSs?
Yeah, our real-time strategy games was never my thing.
Oh,
It was just, I wanted to love them. I did. I wanted to love them. I did. But it just never clicked with me. But yes, Captain Murphy. I was waiting for Captain Murphy, someone to bring up StarCraft in some capacity, because that was like the ultimate RTS. I was like the OG RTS. StarCraft
Red Alert.
Yeah. Good times. What
an
other-
OG World of Warcraft.
I
I
was gonna
love
s-
that game.
Yeah, World. I was just getting ready to
Sorry,
go there,
go
man.
ahead.
I was getting ready to like. At one point in time, World of Warcraft reinvigorated my love of gaming, but it became a point to where it went from a love of gaming to an obsession. And I've played it like straight for like 3-4 years, multiple expansions, whatever, and I was just like, I gotta stop.
Was that the MMO?
That was
or
the MMO
that
one.
the-
That was not. That wasn't Warcraft. That was World of Warcraft, which is the MMO one.
Okay.
But you may talk about the
Yeah,
just
Warcraft. I
yeah.
loved it. No, I loved it. I played the crap out of that game. And then the World of Warcraft, where it went into MMO, I'm a kind of guy.
Yeah.
So it never really super appealed. But Duck Hunt,
Oh.
I don't know if you ever played the game Rise and Shine, but when you finally
No.
get to shoot the dog, it's an achievement in that game where you get to shoot the Duck Hunt dog.
I had no idea.
Oh, and it counts. It counts. And it was like years of just vindication shooting him.
That's awesome. No, I had no idea.
Wow.
I had no idea about that.
Nice.
I had no idea you could shoot the dog.
I hated that dog.
Everybody hates
Hated
that.
that.
Everybody hates that dog, man. Everybody hated that dog. I had no idea in Rise of Shine you could shoot that dog. I never even heard of that game, but that's crazy. Second player controller could control the ducks. Drove his sister crazy. That's too funny, man. I could see your sister getting mad pissed at that, man. I was just getting ready to say something. Do you remember the it was a Super Nintendo thing, the Super Scope 6?
Oh God,
I
yes.
can't remember, because that was another thing that kind of reinvigorated gaming, because there was a tangible. I know you had the Zapper with the NES, right? But there was like something more tangible with that Super Scope 6. And
Yeah,
I
it was like a
can't-
bazooka.
Yeah, it was exactly. But I can't remember the launch game that utilized that. I cannot for the life of me remember that. Because there was a game where it was like a side-scrolling, like almost kind of like Gundam-ish kind of monster killing sort of thing, and I can't remember the name of that game for the life of me. It's gonna drive me nuts. It is absolutely gonna drive me nuts.
The power of
think
Google.
Google. This is what Google's for.
Still-
Pardon me, everybody. I'm gonna search it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going hot.
Does anybody else remember what I'm talking about in chat?
I know you were talking about it, and I brought bad Pilot Wings, the game.
Nope, it wasn't Pilot Wings.
And yeah, but that was an amazing game.
Oh, Pilot Wings was awesome.
That's
Oh,
where I started like
Another
really
SNES game. F-Zero. F-Zero. I loved F-Zero, the racing game. Oh my god, I loved it.
That had to have gotten. What about you, Kira? Did you play that?
I never beat it.
I don't know if anybody ever beat that game. That was hard.
I only played it once in a while. My brother had it.
What was it?
What was another? I mean, if you're talking about hard games never beaten, what was the other one? Battlestar Galactica? Yeah.
Oh lord.
Yeah. No. Never beat that one. Fun game, though.
6.
What game was that? Was it
I see stuff. There's things.
Mecha themed light gun shooting game? I think it was called Battle Clash.
What?
That looks right. That used the Super Scope 6. Just looking at the box art. Yep, I think that's right. Battle Clash. I didn't remember it being called that, but you know, Wikipedia. Oh, hard games. Battletoads.
Battletoads was the.
Oh my gosh.
So,
That was another bastard.
And the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. I don't know if you remember the original one. It was terrible, terribly hard.
Ghosts and Goblins.
Ghosts and Goblins.
That's a rage inducing.
That is straight like, if you are a glutton for punishment, you're gonna try to sit down and play that game.
Yeah.
Golly.
If you wanna get like physically close to crying, play that one. Yeah.
Yep.
I did. I had a couple like rage, like where the tears start welling up in the corners of the eyes, and it wasn't because like of hurt feelings. It was just
you're doing
so
everything
mad.
you can
Like,
not to break your controller.
Yeah, I've never been a guy that likes throw the controller or like smash things. That's just not me. But there was a couple times where I'd have like frustration tears.
Rage quitting was normal for us. The electric seaweed. Are you talking about the Turtles game, Johnny Source? I'm assuming that's the only one I can remember. The electric seaweed. That was the worst. Oh my god, I hated that electric seaweed. Man,
I'm trying to think of what other PC games like really brought it home for you, because I was a huge fan of like from Sierra during that time when computer gaming was starting to take off. So like your King's Quest, your Space Quest games, those were amazing. I loved those role playing kind of like really puzzle focused and oriented games. The only time that they went a little too far, King's Quest 6, there was a point in the game where you had to get a boot, and it seemed really arbitrary and it didn't seem like a big deal, but you wouldn't find that out for hours. You wouldn't find that out for hours if you didn't grab the boot, because there was a small cutscene that would happen on the screen that you'd go onto a bunch, and there was a cat that would chase a mouse. And if you didn't have the boot, you couldn't interact with it. But if you threw the boot, you could hit the cat, and it would save the mouse, and the mouse would unlock your chains at the end of the game. And if you didn't save the mouse, you flat out couldn't beat it.
That's terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a hateful game. It was awesome.
Wow. I
love those series. Loved them. City of Heroes.
City of Heroes was good. I remember Johnny Source playing that nonstop and was trying to get me into it, and I just didn't. I was just like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. Oh yeah, Doom was the best. Wolfenstein, the OG Wolfenstein. Yeah, you tried to get me to City of Heroes, man. What was the there was another one. It was one of the very first first person like puzzle thriller mystery kind of games on the PlayStation.
Myst?
On the first PlayStation. No, it was on the first PlayStation. But I remember Myst. Myst was good on the PC. But there was a game called D. It was just the letter D. It was for the very first PlayStation. And I remember when I got this thing, I rented it, and the thing was 4 discs. I was like, what is happening? What is going on right now? Why does this thing have 4 discs? And dude, still to this day, it was one of the first games I can remember that would allow you to do multiple playthroughs and had multiple endings that could be present. I think there were 6 different endings, and I only ever got 2.
That's huge.
Yeah, and I only ever got 2 of them. But 4 discs, man.
I thought you were going to say Night Trap.
Night Trap. I remember Night Trap. That was like when the
Night Trap was a train wreck.
What was that? That was the FMV PC game, wasn't it?
Yep.
Like full motion video. It was like,
yeah,
that was crazy. That was crazy. But yeah, I remember Night Trap.
Yeah, Night Trap was an interesting deal, and that was the one. That's where they actually started getting into coming up with the rating scheme for video games, whether it was mature, minor, whatever, or E for everyone. They used that one as video games were violent.
I remember this.
And yep,
I vaguely remember
that was
this.
their go-to case.
Yeah,
and that was the cornerstone for coming up with the rating scheme as we know it now.
I do remember.
But like you look at it now and it's ridiculous. Like the theme song for it, it had its own like music video, like where they're all doing the kind of shit in the beginning. It was great, man. It was great.
Speaking of the full motion video type games, do you remember? God, this game was terrible too. I never got further than like it was kind of movement based, so you have to do moves in a way, but it was all FMV. It was called Sewer Shark. It was for the Sega CD. No, not ringing a bell.
I don't remember that.
Look up a video on it. It was it was terrible. It was
pretty bad, huh?
Oh, dude, you want to talk about raging? Because they would call out coordinates. It was basically like 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Like that was it. But you're in first person view of this like ship. I don't know what else to call it. But you're in a sewer? And it's like these real people. Think of like Starship Troopers in the sewer, but only from a first person view, and you're in this like capsule ship and you're trying to take out these rats. I don't know, man. I don't know who came up with this.
It already sounds dodgy.
Yeah, but you would have to hit
Mortal Kombat. I think Mortal Kombat for the win for a full motion video.
Yeah, man.
Mortal Kombat. Pretty solid, Grasshopper.
Mortal Kombat, man. I popped so many quarters into that game in the arcade. Many times.
I could have fun to college. Yep.
Yeah. A lot of quarters and money wasted, tokens wasted, just getting my butt handed to me because there was no moves list. I mean, that was the thing about arcades. It wasn't like you could hit pause and figure out what did what. That didn't exist. It was trial by fire back in the day.
It
arcades.
didn't exist, but that's where the internet was coming out of its infancy. And I don't know if you guys remember like CompuServe and Fry's Electronics and stuff.
Yeah, I remember CompuServe.
When billboard thing in bulletin boards were becoming a thing in on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's some regret. I have like some regret now, but not a lot because it was the venture move. So what I would do is I would go and I'd get all the moves off of those sites. I would write them all out in a Word document, and then I would print it, and then I would take it and go make copies on a Xerox machine. And I would take it to the arcade and I would stomp a mud hole in people's asses, and then I'd sell it to them for $5. I did it with that, and I did it with
quite the businessman.
Killer Instinct. I did it with Killer Instinct too.
Killer Instinct.
Dude, I'd show up with a stack of those damn things.
God,
I'm not even playing, man. Like
this guy was hustling back in the day.
Now, like I said, I'm somewhat sorry, but at the same time, like I made mine as a kid, so I do it, and then at the arcade owners, because they loved it, because there'd be a line of people just stepping up to just get hammered on.
Yeah.
Especially with Killer Instinct. So they'd actually give me $1 in tokens, and I'd just go, and then they'd be like, "All right, we got you next time too, man." So it was like the arcade ringer. Yeah, I know. I made money, dude. That's how I got through summers.
Hey, that's a solid business plan.
Money.
But who was your guy? Who was your character that you played, that you stomped everybody with?
Fulgor was my boy. And then I loved Liu Kang. Liu Kang was a beast on the first Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
But yeah, I wasn't the best person. But
did you get in any of those games?
It is what it is. I don't do that anymore.
What's that?
Did you get in any of those 2 games?
I played Mortal Kombat for a little while, never really got into them.
Okay.
Which is weird. Probably because I massively sucked at them.
Well, it's because you didn't have Claw's handy dandy manual with you, apparently.
Apparently not.
That's life, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, my in Mortal Kombat, man, I wasn't fortunate enough to purchase the manual. It was trial by fire for me, and I learned by burning a hole in my wallet. I learned by burning a hole in my wallet. And my dude was like Grasshopper. My dude was Scorpion. Once I figured out his moveset, finally figured it out. That was my go-to every time. And then in Killer Instinct, my guy was Cinder. All day.
Cinder was good too.
Cinder was my dude. I would charge at you, juggle you up. It's game over, man.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep you occupied all day. But yeah, arcade days, man. Oh my gosh, let's take it back.
Yeah, I miss them.
I do too. I miss. I don't know if you know where you guys are at. If you have like a local mall or anything, but the malls don't have arcades in them anymore, and it's quite unfortunate.
No, there's no arcades.
No more arcades.
The
So upsetting.
last one I saw one in would be in Virginia. I went through them all in Virginia. trying to think of the place. I don't remember the town, but it actually still had a mall that had an arcade section in it.
Huh.
And there was one in my hometown of St. Louis that had one for the longest time, so even when I was in high school.
I'm trying to figure out where in Virginia you were because I live in Virginia.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out where this
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, the mall's probably not there anymore anyway.
Yeah, it was like 2011, I think.
Okay. Everything now in at least the area I'm in are these town centers. Everything's a town center of some sort with whatever amenities. So there's no need to have the riffraff of an arcade.
Nobody goes to them anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to play in them anymore. But I remember, like, that would be a spot in the mall that you'd go and you'd meet up with your friends. Like, you'd talk about it at school, like, okay, we're going to meet up here at this time, man. And then, like, from there, like, we'll go hang out and do stuff. We'll, like, go to whoever's house and da-da-da.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember what they oh yeah, that Fireteam Raven Halo game looks pretty
That
cool.
looks dope, dude.
Are they exclusive to like Dave & Buster's or something like that? I'm trying to.
I
thought
believe
there's some
so.
exclusive. There are some Dave & Buster's in relative distance around me. Then I have to go hit that
I
up.
thought about it.
Oh, it is Captain Murphy. Do they actually have like decent games there still? Or is it all like pinball machines? Person bets on a fighting game. There was a fight. Yeah, see, that's what happens.
Was the arcade when I was there? Oh, yeah.
Film a documentary. It's Netflix.
Yep.
Nightmare. Oh man, you crack me up, man.
I'm waiting to film a documentary.
Oh my goodness. That is too
Talking
funny.
about the morphology of the arcade experience.
The arcade experience and the Fireteam Raven Halo game that's in the arcades.
Yep.
If I go there, man, I'll.
It does look fun because that's the ODST team that is on Pillar of Autumn, right? I think is the core story to that. They're there with Chief while Chief is running around doing his stuff.
Before down.
I'm not sure.
I think it is. I think it is the ODST stuff. And I think it's like you actually sit in something. You have like a big like gun sort of situation. From what I've seen, that's what it looks like.
It's like the Dino. What is it? Dino Crisis or whatever.
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
was like the big series that you get in.
Oh wow, they have the Simpsons arcade there. Talk about a game I put a lot of quarters in and never got anywhere. That Simpsons arcade game was a beast, man. My God. So was the X-Men arcade game. I don't know if you remember that. The 4-player
X-Men was rough.
Yeah, that was a rough one too.
Gauntlet was just a quarter sucking Hoover. That was a rough one.
Yeah. I think back then, like the arcade games were developed to make you keep spending quarters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was there was no way. And then when they did like the console ports of them, I think they dumbed down the difficulty to a degree. Possibly. That's just what it seems like to me. I have no basis for this argument. That's just how it appeared to me. Game rule. Thank God Gauntlet came out on 64. Yeah, Gauntlet on 64 was really good.
That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And then he had what was it? Golden Axe.
Oh,
Golden Axe was from that same era.
I remember. I think it was Johnny Soros mentioned Altered Beast earlier for Sega.
I got that baby on. I did download that one.
Yeah, you did.
I was gonna beat that time in my life.
Yes. Oh man. Yeah, that was. I mean, ROMs. Again, we could, if you want to kind of start going in that direction, we can kind of veer off course here a little bit and talk about the whole ROM thing if you want. Who here has?
This is your show, man.
It is my show. We'll talk about ROMs briefly. I mean, we only got about 15 minutes or so left. So, do you think it's a legality issue or a morality issue? The whole deal with ROMs and playing ROMs.
I think it's a bit of both, but I think when it really comes down to it is some of those companies that develop those games that are uploaded to ROMs are no longer around. So as far as the IP is concerned, there's really nobody left holding the bag in order to maintain it. So there's really nobody that's losing out on. So at least I understand that, and licensing, like Nintendo's the one that headhunts all the ROM sites,
Right.
because they had all the old school ones, and like I get it, and I understand that they want the money. But as far as like some of those arcade games that a lot of Sega did and Square Enix made a lot of them, I don't really. If there was a place that I could legally buy it, and like, I would totally do it.
Yeah,
They don't have any interest in bringing some of those titles back because it's a very niche group of older players that want to play them, like this dude.
Right. What about you, Kira? How do you feel about that whole topic?
I gotta kind of agree with them. I mean, is it really a loss for them? With as much money they make in, like, is it a loss? Yeah. So I really don't have too much of an opinion on there, just because I haven't done it.
Okay, fair enough.
If I could, I would do Twisted Metal Black 2.
Right.
Oh, Twisted Metal. Oh, God.
Twisted Metal was good.
We got to do that one of these days.
Mm-hmm.
Twisted Metal was good.
Yeah, that was my first introduction to PvP.
Okay. Oh, that's a good introduction, man.
I would do that. Yeah, it was my first introduction there.
That's good. That's good. My take on it is kind of in line with you, Claw and Kira. Is I look at it more of a distribution issue.
Mm-hmm.
I would understand it from a legal standpoint if you were still distributing these games in cartridge form for these classic consoles. The fact is, you're not. You haven't been for years, and have no plans to do so, right? And if you look at, let's just take Nintendo, for example, because that's one of the biggest ROM collections out there. Is if you go on these ROM sites, you look, the biggest list is for NES.
Yeah.
Which you can't get anymore. Half those games you're not going to find. You can't go to GameStop or EB Games or whatever the thing is and just like, oh, hey, I want this cartridge for Bionic Commando. It's not going to happen. Or I want the original, Contra game. Not going to find it.
Yep.
You may find some chump on eBay trying to scalp you for it for a few $100s. But other than that,
that goes right back to distribution.
Exactly.
Because the company's not going to get any of that revenue.
Exactly.
It's just like Joe from Florida that I'm getting it from. So you got to know who's pocketing the money at that point.
100%. So.
But if they did do like an archive thing, like not necessarily a Game Pass thing, I guess I would say, but like a old school video game kind of collection site where I could go and I could pay a certain fee and I could play the game and be legal about it, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Exactly. And again, like, it all ties back to distribution. So someone's counter-argument could be, well, they released those $60 NES consoles in like Target stores and stuff. Okay, yeah, you get 30 to 60 games. Maybe 20 to 30% of those games you're actually interested in from either a playthrough perspective or a nostalgia perspective. A bunch of the other ones, you're like, yeah, I don't care about these 8 football games that might be on there, from various years, whatever the case may be. Don't care about that. But like you said, if they had a online accessible virtual console, or even if they brought something like that to the Switch, I would be more inclined to buy a Nintendo Switch if I could have like a full library of virtual console games at my fingertips. Pay $10 a month for access to it, and hey, I can queue up whatever NES game I want or SNES game I want. That would be fantastic, but they're not doing that. So it's like by not doing something in that regard, you're perpetuating the usage of ROMs and emulation in a potentially gray area. I feel like I'm just reading Nightmare's comment real quick.
Yep. solid argument because digital.
Yeah. With a game released 2004, 2034, I think the industry will make it where we can go back and play it because of digital. Exactly. And I think you can't. That's solid. So, well, just look at Microsoft and the back compat they're doing. Oh, there we go. Now I just caught up with my brain there with the whole backwards compatibility thing. I just recently gotten through backwards compatibility I think it's Ninja Gaiden Black, which was on the OG Xbox from 2000, probably 2004, 2005, 2006, something like that. Over a decade old. That's available to me because Microsoft is forward thinking enough to take on this initiative to bring things from their previous generations and make them available on their current generation to play.
PlayStation Store does a pretty good job too, as far as backwards compatibility. And I don't necessarily have to join on Game Pass. I think that if we're going to talk about the kind of accessibility, I would say that PlayStation wins because I can still plug in a disc or I can go on their store and get it that way. And it's not necessarily I have to purchase it again in order to get it into a new digital format. And I can just I can literally take games and just go slap them in the floor and get done with it and get it on. Same with PS2 games, and not have any issue whatsoever and have to go completely re-download the game and go through this whole rigmarole. The only one that seems to be lacking in that area, and the reason how come I think that this is actually a topic right now, is because Nintendo had it on lock for so long. In the beginning, they beat out ColecoVision, and in doing so, they had the market. So all the games that I remember fondly from my childhood was an NES game and an SNES game. So any of those titles that I think about from my youth that I want to play, I have to kind of answer to them, and they're the ones that are seeking out those ROM sites and crushing with extreme prejudice.
Yeah.
So it pisses me off.
Yeah. But it's funny that to me it doesn't seem like this happens with any other media. Like if you take books for example, you can get a book that was written originally in 1960 and find an updated version of it available for you to go buy today at a bookstore, Barnes & Noble, whatever.
Yeah.
Look at Treasure Island. That's a perfect example. The original Treasure Island was written, I don't know, a long time ago. But you can go buy a copy of it today at a Barnes & Noble. Constantly republished, exactly, on a current medium. So, frick, if it was written on papyrus back in whenever it was written, you now get it paperback, right? Whatever. Same thing with
paperback.
I can't find the stone tablet anymore, but hey,
Yep.
But the same thing with movies. You want I used to work many years ago in a video store. During the transition from VHS to DVD. Okay, stuff that originally came out on VHS, eventually came out, was redistributed on DVD, Blu-ray, digital download.
Mm-hmm.
Why are video games seeming to be the exception of this sort of redistribution or republishing? I don't understand it. And again, this feeds into the issue of ROMs and emulators being so prevalent out there. Ties back into the distribution
I
issue.
would agree. I think the only one that really does that is Rare, but Rare does their flagship titles, and Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo kind of all do agree with bringing back their platinum title or whatever the hell they want to church it up as for whatever system. They all bring back their flagship ones
with Fallout,
that
Captain
did
Murphy.
the best selling. Recoup some more money on that same title. But in doing so, I don't get to play really kind of cool, weird games like Wonders from Wise. That was a game that I probably will never see come back officially to Nintendo whatsoever.
Right.
But like I was amazed when I saw Fusion Frenzy. I thought that was pretty impressive when that hit the Xbox store. That was another kind of weird title, but I think once again that came from Rare. I don't think that came as a Microsoft directed thing.
Okay, gotcha. So, they were just going back and forth. I don't think there's necessarily a conclusion. Is just republish your crap.
Yeah,
That's republish it. Just republish it.
I'll pay
make it available.
I'll pay it. I'll make it rain, dude.
Exactly. That's what it boils down to. It's like if you redistribute it or republish it, people are gonna buy it. So
there's some games that I would straight up pay for. Like I was looking at re-downloading from Steam. I was looking at downloading Space Quest series so that my daughter could play it because it was so cool to me. And I was like, she's got my sense of humor, and I think she would really enjoy it too. And so once again, I'm gonna buy the damn game, and it's like another $40 that I'm gonna pay for some shit that I beat years ago. Years ago. But I want to share that with my kid. So
exactly.
Yeah, just quit playing around. Quit shutting down the sites, man.
Yeah, man. Exactly.
Just open your own.
Let us have the sites or remake the game.
Yeah, let the consumer decide. How about that? That's crazy.
I know, right?
What? Supply and demand. Let the consumer make the call.
Let the consumer make the call. Say what? Johnny Soros says, "I never rewind Blu-rays." That's too stupid. But he also asked, what is a game that you guys would be super stoked to see a current reboot or remaster of? I can answer that.
I'm waiting for Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good one.
Bad.
That's a good one.
Bad.
He said bad. He's like really bad.
I gotta think of something else though. Since you got 7, I gotta think of something else I wouldn't mind seeing remastered.
What is it? Resident Evil 2 that they're redoing, or is it 4?
Yes.
RE2.
What's the new one that's coming out?
Yeah.
That looks amazing. They used the RE7 engine for it.
Yeah, Cat Murphy's one just mentioned that in chat. I know he's a big Resident Evil fan. He loves those games.
Oh yeah.
Good on you.
Yes. Good pick.
This is tough.
I'm trying to remember a weird eclectic title that I only.
That's what I'm trying to think of that maybe hasn't been remade. I think.
Yeah.
Because there have been a lot of reboots and remasters in the last few years. It seems to be one of the trends. Like, oh, we can't, new IPs are tough. Let's just remaster or reboot something. Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, the OG one. I'd be about
the original.
The first one, the very first one where it was top down, third person.
Yeah.
And it was garbage on mechanic. Play it. I'd do it.
It was garbage on mechanic. There was a game for the NES, man, that was called Adventure Island. You're like this little chubby, I think Hawaiian dude running around, throwing little stone axes and stuff. I loved the crap out of that game. I would like to see a reboot or remaster of that. Don't know how that would go over, but I think it was made by Hudson Soft, and I don't think Hudson Soft is even around anymore, or if they've been absorbed or something.
Well, is it The Legend of Bonk? It was the caveman and he was bald.
Bonk's Revenge. That was on TurboGrafx.
Yeah, Bonk's Adventure, Bonk's Revenge. Yeah.
Yeah, Bonk was awesome.
That would be cool. But the one that I would like to see, since you brought up dinosaurs, is Turok.
Oh, dude, Turok would be awesome on current the current gen
that would
stuff.
Be
that would be awesome. Turok would be awesome.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up because I actually forgot about Turok. Fuck the T-Rex.
What about you? What about stupid dinosaurs? So what about you?
Bad experiences, all right?
No, man, I get it. We all have those bosses.
Oh man, Turok was so good. That's a good one.
3 and that weird.
That was a good one.
Old school Metroid would be fun. That would be interesting to see. Like the first one.
The first one, yeah. 8-bit.
That would be fun.
8-bit version, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's, that's what I like to see a remaster of. Sonic Spinball. I don't know if you remember that game or not for the Sega. It was a Sonic pinball style game, and damn if that game wasn't fun. That was like an awesome, fun game that not a lot of people remember, but the people that do are like, hell yes. Sonic Spinball. That is the best. Was that you and me, Murphy,
you know
talking
what?
last week
I
about
would be
that?
willing
That's
to
why it's in
bet
my brain.
If we went back to the ROM discussion, I think Sonic is a perfect description of that. But Sega went through and like my hat's off to Sega, and like I will salute the shit out of them. They went through and actually bought all the modded community, went through and redid a lot of those games, and they're the ones that actually made the remaster that just came out. It was the community. It wasn't them doing like they formulated a team and then they used that team to upgrade all their stuff. It was the community itself that it came from, and I think that is that kind of move is super respectable. And if more things like that happened, like if Bethesda kind of enabled more, I think it would be amazing. I think we could see some games like that come back, because there are other people, there's other old farts like me that are rolling around going, you know something? I got some time on my hands. I can make Turok happen. I got some wisdom under my belt.
There you go. I got some wisdom under my belt. Oh, man.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah. Good stuff indeed. Good chatting. I think we're gonna wrap this up here. We're hitting right around the hour mark, and I don't want to keep you guys too long. I told you we would keep it to about an hour. So, any final thoughts? On anything?
No, I think I kind of barfed all the ones I had out.
All right, gentlemen. Well, again, thank you to chat for coming and interacting with us. Really good having you guys in here tonight. Thank you for the host and for all the follows. And I want to thank you two gentlemen for coming on here, expressing your thoughts about this topic or topics. It kind of hit two more topics tonight. That was good though. And yeah, if you don't know or if you just listen to audio and you're not really paying attention to the video, you can look at the video and see where to follow each one of us on our various platforms, on Mixer, on Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, etc. Don't forget to follow the channel here. You can also find the channel at Fresh Takes Pod on Twitter. So be sure to hit that with a follow, and you'll know when we go live. And yeah, we're going to wrap this up. And appreciate everybody watching. Y'all take care.
Have a good one.